Welcome to Whispers in the Pines, where every story has roots and some secrets never stay buried. Case File 1, I Should Have Left That Town. My name doesn't matter anymore. If you're watching this, it's because I finally decided to tell someone what happened to me. I've never put this online before because I knew people would think I was crazy. Honestly. There were days I thought I was losing my mind too. I grew up in a tiny southern town with one stoplight, one grocery store, and miles of pine woods surrounding everything. It was the kind of place where everyone waved at each other, everyone knew your grandparents, and if a strange truck drove through town, people noticed. Nothing bad ever happened there. At least, that's what everyone liked to believe. I was 22 when it started. Back then, I lived alone in my grandfather's old farmhouse just outside town. The nearest neighbor was almost a mile away, and behind my house was nothing but thick woods that stretched for miles. It never bothered me. I'd grown up playing in those woods. I knew every trail, or at least, I thought I did. The first thing that happened was so small I almost laughed about it. One morning, I stepped outside to leave for work and found a single white flower sitting perfectly in the center of my porch. There wasn't a vase, no note, just one flower. I figured one of the neighborhood kids had left it there as a joke. I tossed it into the yard and went to work. The next morning, there was another one. This time, it was sitting directly in front of my door. Again. No note. No footprints, nothing. For 7 mornings, there was a new flower, every single day. Then they stopped. I forgot about it. About a month later, my dog Daisy started acting strange. Every night at exactly 10:30, she'd walk to the back door, stand perfectly still, and stare into the darkness beyond the porch. Not barking, not whining, just staring. The hair along her back would stand straight up. I'd shine a flashlight across the yard, but all I'd see were pine trees swaying in the wind. "Daisy, what are you looking at?" I'd ask. She never looked away. After about 10 minutes, she'd finally relax and walk back into the house like nothing had happened. She did that every night for almost 3 weeks. Then one Friday, she did something she'd never done before. She growled. Not a warning growl, a deep, terrified growl I'd never heard come out of her. She started backing away from the door, tail tucked between her legs. Whatever was outside. She wanted nothing to do with it. I grabbed my flashlight and my grandfather's old shotgun. Looking back, I wish I had stayed inside. I walked across the backyard, my flashlight cutting through the darkness. Nothing. No animals, no people. Just trees. I was about to head back when I noticed something hanging from one of the low pine branches. It was another white flower, tied to the tree with a piece of twine. Then I pointed my flashlight at the next tree. Another flower, then another, then another. There had to be 20 of them. They formed a straight line leading deeper into the woods, almost like someone wanted me to follow them. I stood there frozen. Every instinct I had screamed at me to go back inside. So I did. I locked every door, every window. I barely slept. The next morning, I went back outside, expecting everything to still be there. The flowers were gone, every single one, even the twine. There wasn't a single sign that anyone had been there. When I told people in town, they laughed. One man at the diner smiled and said, "Probably kids messing with you." The sheriff looked around my yard for maybe 5 minutes before telling me it was probably deer hunters walking through the property. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But 2 nights later, I was washing dishes when I happened to glance out my kitchen window. Someone was standing at the edge of the woods, too far away to make out a face, perfectly still, watching my house. I dropped the plate into the sink. When I looked back, they were gone. I searched for almost an hour with deputies. No footprints, no broken branches, nothing. The sheriff told me I must have mistaken a tree stump for a person. I almost believed him. Until the next morning, there was a Polaroid lying on my porch. It was a picture of me, standing in my kitchen window the night before, looking out toward the woods. The photograph had been taken from behind me, from inside my house. Until next time. Lock your doors, and I'll meet you back in the pines.